Check out the video description for details. It's Wednesday, August 2nd, and we got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking Apple's earnings, the sales of Dragon Quest XI. We are talking AMC Theaters is getting pummeled. We review the latest ThinkGeek capsule and a little bit of Splatoon news. So let's go ahead and jump right in with the Apple earnings. Never sleep on a earnings report. Because something usually happens. And going into the earnings here, I was expecting not much movement at all. I figured iPhone sales would stay flat. They were going to report that they're going to stay flat into the next cycle. They'd have some good news underneath when you look at the details, and then be a good buying opportunity. But Apple beat expectations, and their stock is soaring today. So I'll put a link to the transcript, link from Mac Rumors. They're one of the better ones that cover this. So a link to the full transcript is going to be in the video description, so you can check that out. Really cutting into the detail, the things that stuck out to me were continued talk about Swift, their programming language, and as they get that into the hands of school kids so that they have future developers, that's a key thing that they start doing that. Their augmented reality, talking about that, was more good news, and their services are finally starting to pay off more so than people thought. So, and iPad sales, all sorts of things like that are all up. Lots of good stuff in there, continue to be strong, but strong in the areas where I like to see, and that's them hooking the developers and then getting to augmented reality. We think at any time Apple could, backdoor their way into a console with their Apple TV. They've just never done it in any of the generations. They have a perfectly good developer community out there that can make the games for it, but they haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. So this is all just prep right before the big new iPhone cycle. So good news there. I'll pull up their stock. It's up about 5%, 4.5% ish. So it was a good earnings report. You can see the big jump there right after the earnings call for Apple. So good news for that there. Bad news, probably have to wait for a large pullback to get in. It'll happen when the market's flat again, when people forgot about this, and they start doing interviews and stuff, and people will say they lost Steve Jobs. Let's get out of this stock. So still one of our favorite stocks. One of the things that people point to is Samsung and them losing market to Chinese competitors, and that they're going to become the world's largest. But if they're not the world's largest, it doesn't matter when they have terrific margins on their phones. If you want to sell a bunch of phones and make a couple of pennies versus a couple of dollars a phone, it doesn't matter that Apple won't be the largest out of all of them. So you'll see articles like this to start beating the stock down, but I wouldn't worry about it. I still think great stock to own even after the earnings. Wait till a down day in the market where everyone takes profits and then buy into Apple some more. We like Square Enix as a stock on the show, and we've talked about them a little bit lately, but particularly Dragon Quest XI, and that's coming over here to the west. We have some sales numbers out of the gate on Dragon Quest, and it's a couple of million copies they sold in Japan in 2 days. So that's to show you how popular this franchise is over there, and how strong their IPs are. Now, sending this westward on the Nintendo Switch and stuff, that is going to increase their sales. So some of the catalysts that we've talked about with Square Enix are starting to come through. It'll carry in through next year, because I don't think this one's going to be launched until next year over in the western region here. So you got that. You got some of their new games, Project Octopath Traveler, things like that we like from Square Enix. And then there's a story, and again, I'll put all these articles, I link them in the description of the video, about when you beat the game, getting a free version of the original Dragon Quest, which was out for the NES, as a reward for beating the game, which I think is pretty cool. As a company, you can sneak these little Easter eggs in there, and as a reward, you get to play the original game, and adds a little longer playability to the title. They have a huge library where they're going to be able to do stuff like this. Add multiplayer online to some of the Switches games that they're talking about with their online system, where just throwing this out there, it's not confirmed, but something like play Secret of Mana online with people in the multiplayer mode. So things like that could very easily happen, and we like Square Enix. Good sales for Dragon Quest XI. The game looks great. Can't wait to play it. AMC Entertainment, the theater chain, not to be confused with the cable station, is getting clobbered today, down 25%. Now, we've looked at this stock before, and we don't really dislike the stock. We're looking for a possibility of buying it once it's settled out. And it's settling out a little bit more as it's down 25% today. You can see this huge drop off here. They're over the year they've been cut in half, and then some. So they're down to $15 a share. They were upwards of $35 a share. So they are getting hurt on. They released early their earnings, and it was a loss for the quarter. It was a surprise loss, and people are running away from the stock like crazy. You can see the volume. The average volume's 2 million. The volume today is at 11 million. So huge volumes, of people moving and selling the stock. Now, we thought that with the valuation and the dividend that they pay, there are some things to like there about that. And going to the movies is an experience that I think people like. Here, I'll pull up my highlighter to show you you can look at the volume of shares that gets bought and sold and see compared to the average. Usually when you got huge volume in a day that's well above the average, it's either going up a ton or down a ton. And 25% drop is a scary thing to see. But and anyway, we like that they are converting theaters into these dinner experiences with better leather recliners, things like that, more upscale experience. And if they can shrink their model and make money off of those things and transform the experience for people, I think long term they'll be around. There's something to watching movies like the different Avenger movies or Guardians of the Galaxy, things like that, really big scale movies, seeing them in a theater versus at home. I mean, I had a big projector set up and things like that, 10-foot screen, the whole 9 yards, and it was awesome to watch movies that way, don't get me wrong, and TV and play games and stuff, but there's something to that whole theater experience. When it's good, it's you can't beat it. Now when it's bad and people are talking their cell phone, so 25% drop. Keep an eye on them. Watch how this plays out. There may be a buying opportunity. They may just get to the point where they're just so cheap you can't pass them up, and they could potentially turn around and become a solid company down the road. Now this could take 2 years or so, who knows, but something to jot down the name of the stock. The AMC is the symbol. Keep an eye on it. We got our second ThinkGeek capsule, and I'm going to have to give it a 3 out of 5 stars, kind of like the first one that we got. It didn't really knock my socks off. It's pretty cool stuff, but didn't have the wow factor, and I'm still a little bit surprised because I thought this was their opportunity to get into a chunk of business that's very popular, and I feel like they're missing an opportunity. Here's the ThinkGeek capsule. The first one, you got the Fallout Bank, the cup, things like that, some nice socks. The shirts have been really cool. The next one's a Justice League theme, so some nice Justice League pops. that might be all right, but we'll see when we get there. Here's what I got in this one. A little picture there. You get the Game of Thrones sigil. That was pretty cool. The little coffee book Star Trek thing. That's pretty neat. I wouldn't go out and buy that per se, but if someone gave it to me, as a coffee table book, that'd be pretty cool. I'd stick it around somewhere. It's not something I'd actively look at, so that was all right. Um, the Dungeon and Dragon shirt is pretty cool. So both of my daughters now have some pretty sweet T-shirts. Um, but overall, would I have gone out and spent $30 on this? No, I would have passed on a lot of the things that were in it. You do get a gift card with each box, and it ranges from like $5 to $100. So I've gotten $10 back between the two of them. So uh, it's still, like I said, it's a three. Um, may discontinue it if it keeps being meh, but we'll see. Maybe they'll have some wow factor in the next one. My hopes aren't up for the next one, so maybe that's when they'll do some wow factor. So let me know if you got your Think Geek capsule and what you think of that. So moving on, one more piece of news that we've been doing a lot of Splatoon news lately, but another one popped up today, and it's not so much uh, the Splatoon news factor of it. It's that a video game company is doing this, and I want to see more of them do that. Other ones do it to a little bit of to a certain degree, and I think they really need to go all the way and capitalize on it. Team up with someone like GameStop to do this stuff. I'm talking about you get rewards for how much ink coverage you get in Splatoon. They give you some different wallpapers. Now, imagine if in a game when you hit rewards, you actually got reward points that you could do stuff with that were valuable, or unlocked exclusive collectibles, things like that. GameStop has those capabilities when they're with the games that they publish and things like that, and certainly Activision and other people do. Uh, you're starting to see more and more of this in the games, and it'll be interesting to see how this evolves. So keep an eye out for, specifically EA, Take Two, Activision, Nintendo, Square, Capcom. Those companies, uh, Sega, all are publicly traded. Take a look at them and look out for things like that make them unique, stand out, and that could sell more games. Possibly partnering with Amazon or GameStop or something like that for even better rewards. Interesting to see how far they take this. So that's it for today's show. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave comments in the video below. Interested to hear what you think on today's topics, or if you want, just put your stock tips, picks, or if you want me to check out any stocks in the show, I can review it, look over it for you. Um, Give us a thumbs up. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, we look for all your feedback so it can make the show better, good or bad. Send it our way. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you get the latest investing news for gamers. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.